Hey Exotical darlings, this is Coco Exotical. Thank you for being here with me. Today we're going to talk about how they make excuses while you get results. Have you ever noticed that there are a lot of people nowadays who refuse to take accountability for themselves and for their lives? Instead of being honest with themselves about their situations and how they came to be where they are today, they prefer to play the victim and make excuses. They're always complaining and seeking sympathy while doing absolutely nothing to try to improve their situations. For example, I know someone who's pretty much always sick. Like every other month they get sick, and that's not normal. That's not a sign, or that's a sign of a weak immune system, right? So this person's also overweight, they don't exercise, and they eat a lot of processed junk food and sugar. So the last time they got sick, I suggested for them to maybe start taking one of those immunity boosters, like those turmeric boosters that you can get at the grocery store, or it's called Airborne or Emergency. It's like a zinc, vitamin C, like echinacea, elderberry, all of that, all those good ingredients that help to boost your immune system, right? And you can just mix it in some water and you can just drink it down and it helps to boost your immune system. So I suggested for them to start taking something like that, maybe, so that they're not always getting sick. Because I remember about 3 or 4 years ago, I was getting sick like every few months, like every 3 or so months I was getting sick. And that's not normal for me at all, so I started taking those immunity boosters. I took one of those every single day for about 10 days. And I kid you not, I have not been sick since then. Like, knock on wood, I have not been sick since then. And I work in close proximity with people every single day. So me being around so many people all the time and not getting sick like that, it shows that, those kinds of things work to help boost your immune system, right? So anyway, I suggested for them to try to take some immunity boosters or talk to their doctor about it, because it's not normal to have a cold every other month, right? If that's happening, then your immune system is weak or there's something going on with your health. But no, instead of taking action or taking accountability for their health, they prefer to make excuses to try to get sympathy, right? So the thing is that they don't understand that after a while that doesn't work anymore. Like when somebody's always complaining, always playing the victim, always trying to seek sympathy from people, and they're not doing anything to try to change their lives. They're not doing anything to try to change the situation, especially when the solution could be something really simple, like, okay, you're always getting sick. Try to boost your immune system, or go and talk to your doctor about it and they can let you know, what's going on, or maybe they can do some tests to make sure it's not anything super serious. But instead, you want to just sit around and sit in bed and be like, oh, poor me, I'm sick. Nobody wants to help me. Nobody wants to bring me soup. Nobody wants to take care of me. And it's like, well, you're sick every other month, babe. Like, no one's going to take care of a grown-ass adult every other month because you don't want to take care of yourself. You know what I mean? So people get tired of these excuses because every time they come around you, you're always complaining, and people don't want to hear people complaining every single time. They don't understand that we can see through their BS, and we don't want to hear the continuous complaints about things that have simple solutions, right? Like, we don't want to hear continuous complaints when you refuse to do anything or make any changes to work toward improving your life. So, these kinds of people, they have a victim mindset, and they have a lack mindset as well. Like, right, they know what they need to do to get where they want to be or where they need to be. But instead of taking those steps, they prefer to do absolutely nothing about their situations. And then they're constantly complaining to anybody who will listen so that they can seek out some kind of sympathy from people. And that might work for a few times, right? Because, yeah, of course, the first few times somebody's complaining to you about their problems, you want to lend a listening ear. You want to be a good friend. You want to try to help them, because you have sympathy, you have empathy, and you care about them. You don't want to see them, in a bad situation. But then there comes a time that you realize that they are allowing themselves to remain stuck in a mess of their own making instead of trying to clean up that mess, right? They're simply just being a victim and having a lack mindset and, trying to pretend that none of the solutions that are out there are going to work for them, right? So the same solutions that work for other people when they implement those solutions, none of these solutions will ever work for this particular person. You're just that one anomaly where your life just sucks and nothing is ever going to work for you. No, like, people don't want to continue to be around that kind of energy. Like, people like that, they expect other people to clean up their own messes for them, and then they wonder why everyone else is surpassing them in all different areas of their lives, right? Especially if they know that you've had major struggles in your life and you've had major setbacks in your life as well, and then now they see that you're thriving because you made changes in your life and you took the time to sit back and say, hey, I don't like the way that my life is going. I don't like, what's been happening here. I don't want to continue to be a victim. I don't want my life to continue to be a mess. So I'm going to stop making excuses for myself, and I'm going to go ahead and change what I've been doing. I'm going to make better choices. I'm going to stop making excuses. I'm going to take accountability, right? And realize that, hey, I'm part of the problem in my own life because I'm sitting here playing the victim. I'm sitting here not doing anything to really improve my life, but I'm complaining about how my life is going wrong. So no, I noticed that I'm part of the problem. So I'm going to take accountability for myself, make changes in my life, and those changes yield excellent results, right? Your life is improving and you're growing, your career is growing, your relationships are thriving, right? And then when they see your life improving, then they want to resent you for it. They're jealous, they're envious, and then they resent you because they know that if they just got out of their own way, right, they could improve their lives as well, but for some reason they don't want to do it. So they prefer to remain stuck and continue to try to seek out sympathy from people instead of realizing the call is coming from inside the house, right? And going ahead and changing, the things that they've been doing that have been leading them down a destructive path and trying to do better for themselves instead, right? So this same person, along with them getting sick all the time, their house is always filled with clutter. Maybe that contributes to them getting sick too. Your house is filled with dust and clutter and stuff like that. That's not healthy for your lungs either. So anyhow, their house is filled with clutter all the time, and it's not like normal little clutter, that people have in their house. It's like almost hoarder levels of clutter, right? Like they have a sink full of dishes. Like for some reason they fill up the sink with water, like a swimming pool of dishes, right? And just leave the dishes there to soak. They're like, oh, I need to quote unquote soak the dishes. Like you don't need to soak dishes for 2 weeks. Like, you go back to the house 2 weeks later, the same dishes are still swimming around in that dirty pool water, dirty pool of dishes. Like that's disgusting. Who does stuff like that? Right? There's no other reason for you to have a swimming pool of dishes in your sink for weeks on end other than the fact that you're lazy as hell. You're lazy and you don't want to take accountability for living in a clean home, right? You don't want to clean up after yourself. That's so filthy, right? Half of the living room's completely full of boxes and junk that's been sitting there for literal months, and it keeps growing and growing. Every time you go over there, the pile gets bigger and bigger, right? And they have cats as well, right? So I don't even need to say anything. I don't even need to say anything more to know that there's all that clutter, dirt, whatever, and then you got cats on top of that as well. So I don't need to say anything about the smell. That's all I have to say. So, and then here's the thing, like this kind of a person it's a person who goes around there like, oh, I don't like scents and scented things, and oh, that smells so strong. It's so when you're wearing like a perfume or whatever. Oh, what perfume are you wearing? Oh, and then they want to like cough as if like, when I go around other people are asking me, I'm passing people on the street, they're asking me what perfume I'm wearing. It smells amazing, right? People always compliment me. I've never had anybody, even me working in close proximity with people, all right, I've never had anybody be like, oh, your perfume is strong. They're always, if anything, they're like, this smells amazing. What are you wearing? I need to go buy it right now. So this kind of person is going around talking about, honey, you don't like scents and blah, blah, blah. But the stinking ass scent of your dirty home, the stinking cats, the stinking dirty dishes and clutter in your house, that scent doesn't bother you though? Get out of here. Come on. Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. It's ridiculous, and I wouldn't be talking like this about people like that if they were willing to admit that they were the problem in their own lives, right? If they were willing to admit, hey, yeah, my house is messy, I don't feel like dealing with it right now. Or, hey, like, I just don't have the energy to address this right now. Yes, I know this is a problem, but I'm not ready to focus on it right now or whatever. That would be fine. That wouldn't bother me. But it bothers me because people like that love to play the victim and make stupid excuses. And then they want to be envious of you for taking accountability of your own life and cleaning up your own messes in your own life. So then when they see you thriving, then they want to get jealous and they want to make, slick little comments, and they want to be passive aggressive about it when their life is a complete shambles. And they don't want to do anything about it, but they want to keep on playing the victim and thinking that people are going to continue to give them sympathy for doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same stupid results from the same stupid mistakes and the same stupid choices that they keep on doing, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So it's like, For me in my past, although there were a lot of external circumstances and toxic, negative people who contributed to the failures and drama and destruction in my past life, I also realized that me and my mindset were also part of the problem, right? Like in my own life, I realized that, hey, I'm kind of playing the victim a little bit too, and it needs to stop. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of my own BS. So let me try to make different decisions. Let me get people out of my life who are toxic and who are contributing to my destruction, and let me go on ahead and try to do better for myself and make better choices, right? And so especially nowadays, there's a lot of free resources to help people to do that too. If you don't even know where to start, you can get on YouTube. You can get on, a podcast. You can listen to an audiobook. You can read regular books. You can do whatever you want. All of this is available at your fingertips right now. Like pretty much everyone has a smartphone nowadays. So if you have a smartphone, instead of scrolling TikTok, instead of scrolling Instagram, go on ahead and open up YouTube and learn something, right? Do something different. But instead, people want to make excuses after excuses for their crappy situation, and then they want to make slick comments towards you for making changes in your own life to elevate yourself, because they see that your changes are actually working, right? The advice that you gave them is actually working for yourself, right? And if they would just follow what you're doing, right, then they would see the changes in their lives as well, but they don't want to do it. And sometimes, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, right, they don't want to change their lives because they prefer to remain a victim. They don't want to admit to themselves that they're the problems in their own lives. So they prefer to blame imaginary external circumstances for their problems, right? And then when you offer up obvious and simple solutions to their obvious and simple problems, then they get defensive because they know what they need to do to be better, but they simply don't want to do it, right? They just want to cry and moan and complain and be the victim. And that's fine. If that's what you want to do, don't do anything, but stop complaining about it all the time. Stop complaining about the same messes that you continue to create for yourself on a regular basis. That's where the problem lies, right? If you want to live a life of misery and misfortune, then please enjoy it. Enjoy it. Go on and continue to do it and wallow in your own mess. Wallow in the mess of your own making. Wallow in your own misfortune, right? But please stop complaining about it to other people and stop trying to be the victim, right? Because you're clearly not willing to do anything about your own mess that you're creating in your life, and we're tired of hearing you complain about it. Anyways, have you all dealt with people like this? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.